Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something really important for folks navigating the U.S. immigration system.
Yeah, we're going deep into the May 2025 visa bulletin.
And crucially, seeing how it stacks up against the April 2025 version.
You've got both official bulletins right here from the State Department.
Our mission really is to pull out the most critical changes in visa availability, across the different categories and countries.
Exactly. Trying to understand what these shifts mean, whether it's for your own journey or just keeping tabs on immigration trends, it should offer some clarity.
Okay, let's dive right in. Family-sponsored preferences first, looking at the final action dates.
Sounds good. F1 to start. Unmarried sons and daughters of U.S. citizens.
Right. So for May, the date is holding at March 15th, 2016 for most places. But Mexico is showing April 22nd, 2005, and the Philippines, July 15th, 2012.
Okay, and how does that compare to April?
Well, April was the same, except for Mexico. Mexico was January 1st, 2005, back in April.
So Mexico jumped forward.
Yeah, quite a bit. From January 1st to April 22nd, 2005. That's nearly 4 months.
That's pretty significant movement for F1 Mexico. Everyone else in F1, though, stayed put.
Exactly. Held steady.
That Mexico jump,
Yeah.
it could mean a few things. Maybe better processing, maybe just a temporary dip in new applicants right at that cutoff. Good news for them anyway.
Definitely. Okay, next up, F2A. Spouses and children of permanent residents.
Right. What's May looking like?
January 1st, 2022 for most areas. Mexico is May 15th, 2021.
Okay. And there's usually a note with F2A, isn't there?
Yep. It mentions the numbers exempt from the per-country limit. Basically, visas are available up to May 15th, 2021, regardless of country. Then for those subject to the limit, it's between that May date and the January 1st, 2022 date, except Mexico, which is fully exempt right now.
Got it. And April.
April was exactly the same. Same dates, same note.
So zero change for F2A final action dates.
Interesting.
Yeah, total standstill between April and May. That stability might just mean supply and demand are pretty balanced in F2A right now. That note about the limits, it's like two lines, really. One faster, one slower, depending on the country hitting its cap. Mexico's in the faster line currently.
Makes sense. All right, let's move to F2B. Unmarried sons and daughters, 21 or older, of permanent residents.
Okay, F2B, what are the dates?
May shows July 22nd, 2016 for most. Mexico is January 1st, 2006. And the Philippines, February 8th, 2012.
February 8th, 2012 for the Philippines. Now, what was it in April?
April had the same dates for most areas in Mexico, but the Philippines was January 22nd, 2012.
So it went backward.
Yes, a retrogression for the Philippines in F2B from January 22nd back to February 8th.
Ouch. Yeah, retrogression. That's tough news. It means demand just outstripped the available visas for Filipinos in that category.
So some people who might have thought they were getting close.
Now have to wait longer, unfortunately. Anyone from the Philippines in F2B with priority dates in that window needs to watch closely now.
Definitely something to flag. Okay, continuing with family-sponsored F3 now. Married sons and daughters of U.S. citizens.
F3.
For May, it's April 1st, 2011 for most. Mexico is January 15th, 2001. The Philippines is September 22nd, 2003.
September 22nd, 03 for the Philippines. How about April?
April was the same for most areas in Mexico,
Yep.
but the Philippines was March 22nd, 2003.
Okay, so that's forward movement.
Yes. Good news here for the Philippines in F3. Moved forward from March 22nd to September 22nd, 2003.
Wow, that's a solid 6-month jump.
Pretty significant.
Yeah, that suggests, maybe a good chunk of visas became available or processing sped up for that specific group. Definitely encouraging for F3 Filipinos.
Okay, last one for family-sponsored final action dates, F4. Brothers and sisters of adult U.S. citizens. Always a long wait here.
Always. What are the May dates?
January 1st, 2008 for the all-chargeability group. China is June 15th, 2006. India, March 15th, 2001. Mexico, also March 15th, 2001. And the Philippines, June 1st, 2005.
Okay, a lot of dates there. Let's compare to April.
In April, the all-chargeability date was August 1st, 2007. China, India, and Mexico were the same as May. But the Philippines was January 1st, 2005.
So movement for the general category and the Philippines.
Correct. The general category moved from August 07 to January 08, and the Philippines moved from January 05 to June 05.
All right, so some modest progress there. 5 months for the general category and 5 months for the Philippines.
Better than nothing in F4.
Absolutely. But notice China, India, and Mexico are still stuck. Shows just how high the demand is from those countries in F4.
True. Okay, let's switch tracks slightly. Still family-sponsored, but now the dates for filing. Remember, this is about when you can start the paperwork.
Right, the early filing date. potentially lets you get a work permit sooner, things like that. F1 first.
F1 dates for filing, comparing May to April. No change at all. Still, September 1st, 2017 for most, April 1st, 2006 for Mexico, April 22nd, 2015 for the Philippines.
Okay, steady there. Might just mean a consistent flow of applications reaching that stage.
Now, F2A dates for filing. This is where things get interesting. Ooh, what happened?
Big jump forward. For May, the date for filing is February 1st, 2025 for all areas, including Mexico.
February 1st, 2025. Wow. What was it in April?
October 15th, 2024.
Okay, October 24 to February 25. That's more than 3.5 months forward.
Huge leap.
That's really significant news for F2A folks. It means many more people might be able to submit their adjustment of status application
If USCIS decides to use the dates for filing chart for May, that's the crucial bit. Always have to check the USCIS website for their monthly decision on which chart to use.
Exactly. But assuming they do, this could really speed things up for many F2A families waiting to file that final stage.
Definitely the biggest positive shift we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Now, F2B dates for filing.
Let me guess. No change.
You got it. No change between April and May. Still January 1st, 2017 for most, April 1st, 2007 for Mexico, October 1st, 2013 for the Philippines.
Okay, and F3.
Same story. F3 dates for filing are also unchanged. July 22nd, 2012 for most, June 15th, 2001 for Mexico, September 22nd, 2004 for the Philippines. So F2B and F3 dates for filing holding steady. Maybe the number of people ready to file is just matching the expected visa flow for now.
Seems plausible. Finally, F4 dates for filing.
Any movement here?
A little bit. For the all chargeability areas except those listed, the date moved forward from April 1st, 2008 and April to June 1st, 2008 in May.
Okay, a 2-month nudge forward for the general category.
Right. But China, India, Mexico, and the Philippines dates for filing in F4, all unchanged from April.
So a small step for the general F4 group on filing dates, but still stuck for the high-demand countries, underscores those long waits again.
Absolutely. Okay, ready to switch to employment-based.
Let's do it. Starting with final action dates. EB1, priority workers.
Right. May Bulletin shows current for most areas. China is November 8th, 2022, and India is February 15th, 2022.
And April.
Exactly the same. No change.
Okay, so EB1 final action is stable. Current for most is good, of course.
Yeah.
The specific dates for China and India just reflect that backlog reality.
Makes sense. Moving to EB2, advanced degrees or exceptional ability.
What are the May final action dates?
June 22nd, 2023 for most. China is October 1st, 2020. India is January 1st, 2013.
And comparing that to April.
Identical. No change here either.
Okay, so EB2 final action also holding steady. Suggests a stable balance, like you said, between applicants ready for visas and the supply.
Yep. Now, EB3, skilled workers, professionals, and other workers. Let's split this slightly. First, skilled workers and professionals.
Right. EB3 skilled professional. May dates.
January 1st, 2023 for most. China is November 1st, 2020. India is April 15th, 2013.
April 15th, 2013 for India. What was it in April?
April 1st, 2013.
A little bit of movement there.
Yeah, it's just a slight nudge forward for India and EB3 skilled professionals. 2 weeks.
Hey, 2 weeks is 2 weeks. It's progress, however small. Good for those specific applicants.
True. Now, EB3, other workers, the less skilled category.
Okay, other workers' final action for May.
May 22nd, 2021 for most. China is April 1st, 2017. India is April 15th, 2013.
Wait, India is the same as skilled professional.
Yes, April 15th, 2013 for both EB3 India categories in May. Now, comparing other workers to April, no change. The April dates were identical.
So the only EB3 final action movement was that 2-week bump for India skilled professional. Other workers stayed put.
Correct. And the bulletin reminds us about NACR impacting the other worker annual limit.
Right, that Nicaraguan Adjustment and Central American Relief Act, it carves out visas, meaning fewer are available for EB3 other workers, often leading to slower dates.
Exactly. Okay, next is EB4. Certain special immigrants, religious workers included.
This is straightforward, right?
Unavailable for May.
And that was expected based on the April bulletin.
Correct. April already announced the FY 2025 annual limit was hit back on February 28th, 2025. So no EB4 visas until October 2025, the start of the next fiscal year.
Right. A hard stop there. Shows how important those annual limits are. Anyone in EB4 just has to wait now.
Okay, last employment-based final action date category. EB5, the investment visas. Let's look at the unreserved category first.
EB5 unreserved. How's May looking?
Current for most areas. China is January 22nd, 2014. India is May 1st, 2019.
May 1st, 2019 for India.
Hmm.
What was it in April?
April was November 1st, 2019 for India.
Whoa, that's a big step backward.
Huge retrogression for India, EB5 unreserved. Back 6 months, from November 19 to May 19.
Wow. Does the bulletin say why?
It does. Explicitly says high demand from India and increased demand from the rest of world.
So a double whammy hitting the India date.
Exactly. And it even gives a heads up that a final action date might need to be set for the rest of world category in the future if demand keeps up.
That's a major development. Significant retrogression for India and a warning shot for everyone else in EB5 unreserved. That category is getting tight.
Definitely the most dramatic negative shift this month. But on the flip side, the EB5 set-aside categories
Rural, high unemployment, infrastructure.
all remain current for all areas in May.
And they were current in April, too.
Yes, consistent there. Shows those targeted investments still have open pathways.
Right, that's the clear incentive. If you invest in those specific areas, the visa backlog, for now, isn't an issue.
Okay, quick run through of the employment-based dates for filing. Any changes from April to May?
Let's see. EB1, dates for filing.
No change. Still current for most. Specific dates for China and India.
EB2, dates for filing.
No change.
EB3, skilled professional.
No change.
EB3, other workers.
No change.
EB4, religious workers.
Also, no change there on the filing date chart.
Okay. EB5, unreserved dates for filing.
No change.
And EB5 set-asides.
Still current, so no change there either.
Wow. Okay, so zero movement across the board for employment-based dates for filing between April and May.
None at all. Seems like the action, both good and bad, was all on the final action date side for employment categories this month.
Interesting. And again, that reminder, always check USCIS to see if they're even using these dates for filing charts each month. It's not automatic.
Crucial point. Okay, let's switch gears to the diversity visa, the DV lottery. DV 2025 rank cutoffs for May.
Right, the numbers that determine who gets an interview. Let's hear the May numbers.
Africa, 35,000 is the general cutoff. Lower numbers for Algeria, 34,500. Egypt, 32,500. And Morocco, 30,000.
Okay.
Asia, 6,500 generally.
Yeah.
Iran and Nepal slightly lower at 6,450.
Europe.
16,000, except Russia, 15,950. And Uzbekistan way down at 9,000.
North America.
Just 20 for the Bahamas only.
Oceania.
1,550.
And South America and the Caribbean.
2,250.
Got it. Now, how do those compare to the April DV cutoffs? Let's see.
Well, April's Africa cutoff was 30,000, Asia was 6,000, Europe was 16,000 overall, but Uzbekistan was 7,750. North America was 20, Oceania was 1,500, South America Caribbean was 2,200.
Europe's overall stayed the same, but Uzbekistan jumped to 1,250, also notable.
North America stayed at 20, Oceania up slightly by 50, South America Caribbean up by 52.
So generally, forward movement across most regions. Good news for DV selectees means more interviews happening in May.
Definitely looks that way.
And the bulletin mentions, right, that the overall DV 2025 limit is actually lower this year because of NACARA and NDAA.
Yes, it flags that. So even with a smaller total pie, the monthly processing seems to be advancing steadily.
That's good to see. And they even give the June numbers as a preview. Looks like more forward movement coming then, too, for most regions.
Right, a little sneak peek. Okay, just a few final important notes from the bulletin to cover.
Sure. What else did they highlight?
The usual reminders about the overall annual limits for family and employment visas, plus the per-country caps. These really drive the dates.
Fundamental stuff, but always worth remembering. Visa issuance is strictly by priority date order within those limits.
It also repeats that warning about potential further retrogression for India EB5 unreserved.
And the possibility of rest of world date being set too. They're really flagging that category.
Seems like it. There's also a note about special immigrant visas for U.S. government employees, mentioning the NDAA impact and advising people to contact their consular section.
Right, specific guidance for SIV applicants. Important for them to follow up directly.
And finally, the standard direction for the absolute latest. Check travel.state.gov.
The ultimate source. Always good advice. Those extra notes really provide context, especially the EB5 warnings this month.
So wrapping this all up, comparing May 2025 to April 2025, key takeaways.
Well, on the family side, we saw good final action progress for Mexico F1, Philippines F3, and F4.
But that step back, the retrogression for Philippines F2B.
Right. And on the dates for filing, that huge leap forward for F2A was the big news. plus a small gain for general F4.
Then, employment-based, final action dates saw that tiny nudge for India EB3 skilled professional.
But the major story was the big retrogression for India EB5 unreserved, and EB4 still unavailable.
And DV lottery numbers generally moving forward.
Yeah, it's a real mix, isn't it? It shows how dynamic the bulletin is, constantly shifting based on demand and processing.
Absolutely. Understanding both sets of dates, final action, and dates for filing and checking USCIS on which chart to use, that's key.
Couldn't agree more. Stay informed, use the official sources.
So here's a final thought to leave everyone with. As we track these ups and downs month to month, what bigger picture do these shifts paint about immigration demand and processing capacity right now?
Yeah, and how does knowing these details, this accurate data, actually help people plan or just understand the system better?
Definitely something to mull over. Thanks for diving deep with us today.